What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of you for Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2. This is episode 20, and with me, as always, I have
Yeah.
Bluespade.
Of course, this episode picks up immediately after that shocking conclusion from last week. Of course, we first get to see a little flashback with Eugene and his friends, doing their usual shenanigans. With Novara accidentally spilling coffee onto Gojo's, I guess, his expensive,
It was a
yeah, his
shirt.
expensive shirt, like which costs like what? How many? I forgot how much yen it would cost.
It said like 200,000 yen or
Somewhere
something like
somewhere
that.
around that. Then, like, after that, it just immediately just cuts to her lifeless body, like, literally, like, missing her, left eye with, Yuji just, like,
Yeah.
still in shock after what happened. And
This arc has really put Yuji through the
yeah,
ringer.
he's, like, literally had to suffer through, like, so much, like, in, just a short amount of time. Like, he was possessed into, destroying like the majority of the city. Uh, what was it? Maito kill like supposedly kills Nabara, and then before that he killed Nanami. So it's like so like before Yuji can do anything, Maito just takes advantage of the situation and just pounds him in it. At every situation he can. I think he executed a Black Flash on Yuji.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that Yuji's just not dead after all that, to be honest. Um, I mean, he's pretty much out of commission, though. Uh, I mean, both physically and
Yeah.
mentally. He has no will to really fight anymore, and he's just been completely just beaten down by
Yeah.
Mahito.
And well, of course, just before Maito is supposedly about to finish Yuji off, Toto appears to save Yuji at the last second, and and of course, Yuji during that time just confesses to everything that like he's supposedly done. Pretty much like saying that he doesn't want to continue with this whole, the suffering any further, until Toto just pretty much gives him a pep talk to regain his motivation.
Yeah, basically saying that that Jujutsu sorcerers have to continue fighting to um just for the sake of the people that they still have or they need to protect or something
Yeah,
like that. Um, but yeah, I mean, it is kind of a shame that Toto just shows up, that he shows up now because he showed up at the beginning of the arc and then he hasn't really been involved at all until
mm.
this point.
Yeah, and of course there's another person that was there. I think Arata was accompanying Toto at the time,
Yeah.
and Arata mentions that he there's a possibility that he can heal Noboru's body by literally telling that there's like a sliver of of hope that she may be able to
Uh,
survive.
yeah, but he says that she currently doesn't have a
Hmm.
pulse. So yeah, I guess that he needs to get her to for probably like some kind of hospital as quickly as possible. But yeah, it's not looking good for her because they're still within that barrier, so he would need to get out of the barrier and just get to you know get somewhere where he could actually like try to
Yeah.
help her. Um, so yeah, I mean, honestly, like not spoiling anything because I don't know really what happens in the manga after this, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Nobara is just out of the story for going forward, considering her
Yeah.
condition.
Well, at the same time, we do get another scene with Miwa talking to supposedly like the Mekamaru puppet, and of course, she
Yeah.
becomes incredibly upset over Mekamaru manipulating events to, I guess, quote unquote, protect them, or keeping Miwa and the rest of his classmates from participating in the Shibuya incident.
Yeah, because they see it as Mekamaru, I guess, not really having faith in their abilities or
Hmm.
something. And Miwa just sees it as because she she sees it as him thinking that she's too weak or something like that.
Yeah, but of course, but before he disappears for good, the last thing he says to her is like, he pretty much confesses that he loves her, and this of course this of course breaks me out to the point where she just breaks down crying soon after this.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you definitely feel bad for her, but she's also like, I mean, hasn't really been involved in this arc, and she's her and like the rest of her class, I guess, were because of Mekamaru's actions, were
Mhm.
kind of kept out of what was going on.
Yeah, I mean, at least it gives Miwa some, uh, I guess, some amount of closure over knowing what happened to Mekamaru at this point, um, because she
Yeah,
didn't know at the time that Mekamaru was fighting Mahito at the time. But yeah, I mean, she knows, but it doesn't make it any better for her, at least at this time.
yeah. Um, and then of course we cut back to the fight with Toto and Yuji going up against Mahito. Um, Basically after Toto's pep talk to Yuji, it gives him like the confidence to get up again and try to fight against
Mm.
Mahito. So the two of them try to gang up on Mahito and of course try to fight him. And Mahito at this point just kind of pulls out all the stops just to just fight the both
Yeah,
of them. Where he just is transforming into multiple different weapons, and he eventually ends up using some kind of some kind of like a train creature that looks kind of like a train to chase them down on the subway, and they're trying to run away, and they eventually escape it, but not before Mahito chases after them again and ends up transfiguring two humans he comes by into weapons to try to fight them.
yeah. I think, and Toto in the middle of the fight uses his own version of the Black Flash as well. And visually the fight itself looks amazing as usual. I mean, it doesn't get to the level as some of the higher quality animation style that we've seen in previous episode, but it gets there.
Yeah, this was another episode, yeah, where the production values I would say were fairly high. Um, and I mean, there were some interesting animation techniques that were used during the fight. Um, I mean, just all the different expressions that we see from Mahito and all the, uh, again, just how fluid the animation is pretty impressive. Uh, I mean, yeah, this is definitely one of the better animated fights. I can't say whether or not this was another episode that I guess you'd say is 100% finished, but it looks more finished than some of the other episodes we've seen, especially the one with Sakuna. So I mean, it definitely looks a lot better than that, of course. Fortunately, it seems so far that episode, I guess, was the exception in terms of the animation not being really, I guess, finished or not ready. Because everything else hasn't looked quite as bad as some instances in that episode, I guess. I mean, yeah, for the most part, everything looked pretty good in this
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah, it was another good episode. I mean, still, like we're still dealing with the fallout of everything that's happened. Especially with last week with Nabara. I mean, they still give us some amount of
Yeah.
hints that it's possible that Nabara might come back later, but as of right now, even to this day, like we still don't. There's like I think currently in the Japanese release, there's no solid confirmation that Navarro is even alive just yet. I mean, there's still people still
Mm.
speculating at this point, but there's no actual confirmation.
Yeah, it kind of makes you wonder if Gege has any plans to to even bring her back, or if there's some point as to why he hasn't really she hasn't really been a presence at all in
Yeah.
the story after what happened to
Yeah.
her
I
here.
mean, some minor spoilers. Yuto Okotsu is going to be back in a major role soon after the Shibuya arc. But of course, I mean,
Yeah,
we could say that he could make a cameo by the end of this season. But as of right now, like we don't have like any solid announcement of whenever they're going to make another season of this show.
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there is an announcement of season three, but I will say if there is going to be a season three, that I really hope that that they have. I would honestly be okay if it gets delayed until it's actually finished, because I really don't. Again, I don't really like the way that Mappa does things, where they really kind of rush the production of things sometimes, just to you know just to get that season out
I
the
mean,
door.
not only
Or
that, I mean, they
uh,
still have several other projects. Even if they
yeah.
finished up Attack on Titan just a few weeks ago, that doesn't mean that they're out of the woods with all the other projects that they're working on.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it really just comes down to that's I guess the general the business practice of Mappa in general, of just taking on all multiple different series at the
Mhm.
same time and trying to get them done, I guess, within a certain window. And because of that, they probably rush the production and overwork all the
Yeah.
animators, which, to reiterate, isn't really an uncommon practice in the anime industry, but I guess Mappa is a more egregious example of this. Um, and that's why people have had such a problem with them.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the animators that work with Mappa are
Also,
yeah.
I mean, speaking of which, I think recently, like, the Mappa CEO came out in some interview or something saying, like, uh, something along the lines of, like, we try to get the best results and get things out as fast as possible, or something like that. I forget exactly what he said, but he said something like that, which really didn't make all the criticism they've been receiving recently any better. Uh, so I don't know. I mean, it makes sense though that that's kind of his approach to things, considering that's the way the Mappa seems to do
Yeah.
things. Um,
I mean, well, I
yeah,
think just recently I think there's plans to make an announcement for Chainsaw Man pretty soon, but it's not confirmed whether or not
uh,
if it's gonna relate to the new season of the show or if it's gonna be something else entirely. But it's it's up in the air at this point. But yeah, so far, like as of right now, it's just a wait and see thing. Uh, for us to know like what's gonna happen for the future of Jujutsu Kaisen.
right. Yeah. So basically, yeah, the episode ends with just both Yuji and Toto facing off against Mahito, and their fight kind of ends up going up from the subway into the surface, where Mahito like just breaks through to the
Yeah.
surface of
Mhm.
Shibuya, and he just like transforms into this crazy thing with all these these tentacles coming out of him. Um, so yeah, I mean, it looks like it's going to be a pretty crazy fight. I mean, Toto before this even, like you said, hit him with the Black Flash, and of course it doesn't really do anything to Mahito, because it with Mahito it doesn't matter, I guess, what damage you do to his physical form. You have to actually somehow like damage his soul or something. So I don't know how they're going to do that, but it seems like that's the only way to even do anything to
Yeah.
Mahito.
Not to mention, even if like they take care of Mahito, there's still the issue with that fake Geto character. I mean, we haven't seen him in a long time
Yeah.
at this point, but I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility that he'll show up again before the season's done.
Mhm. Um, but yeah, it was another pretty good episode. I definitely think it's another uh episode that stands out as well, just because of the animation was probably some of the best that we've seen in this season. I mean, there's many examples of that, but this fight is in particular was also very well done. Um, I think, I mean, the Choso fight is definitely up there, but this fight is so far pretty
Mhm.
good too. Again, like, I just worry for the animators, because I mean, with the quality of work they put out, I mean, it's already pretty impressive, but I'm sure it's, this episode might not even have been 100% finished either. I wouldn't be surprised. Because as we know with Mappa, they usually, whenever they release the Blu-ray, they end up touching up the animation. So, I mean, it probably will look even, supposedly, I'm guessing even better, when they actually release the Blu-ray, because they'll actually have more time to actually, finish, probably, just put the finishing touches, I guess, on all the animation.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen for the end of the season, depending on how many episodes are left. I think because
Yeah.
I still remember that they ended up delaying this in the middle of the season after the hidden inventory arc into the Shibuya arc.
Yeah. And I mean, even with the delays, and it still wasn't technically finished. So, uh, but yeah, I don't really have much else to say about the episode. I don't know if you have anything
I
else to
mean,
say
it
about
still continues to be good as usual. I mean, like it's.
it.
I mean, this it's still like like a lot of shocking things have happened over the course of this entire season. I mean, it's one of the like darkest seasons that they've released thus far, and of course we'll definitely have to deal with the fallout soon after this is over. But
It feels like it definitely has the highest
yeah,
stakes so far of like anything.
yeah, but but at this point, like, I mean, there's nothing else Jujutsu High can do at this point. I mean, Shibuya is like pretty much more or less destroyed, and with Gojo missing, and pretty much there will be likely be consequences for Yuji if he somehow gets out of this. And there's also a thing we
Yeah,
forgot to mention that the opening sequence kind of changed slightly. Um, before, like, we would see the group of the characters that were alive before that. Well, and it ends up changing from like them to like the destroyed city of Shibuya at this point.
yeah. I think I saw that somebody pointed
Yeah,
that out. I actually didn't notice it myself until they actually until they pointed
yeah,
that out. So yeah, I kind of like those like subtle details they put in
yeah.
there. Uh, but yeah, so that all being said, guys, until next time, we will see you all later.